these on Amazon. Really good shoes. I got lucky. And if they were cheap then, they may not have fit my boots. They're actually wide enough for my feet. Yeah.
So anyway,
There's certain things I just don't buy. Either go to Walmart or something. You know what you need, you know what's going to fit. Some kind of electrical device, like USBs.
Okay, mighty companions. Mighty companions. You ready to get started? Are you ready to get started?
yes.
Okay, all right. You ready to? Okay. Feel free to let every ounce of resistance that needs to come up, so that it can come up and it can come out. Because that's what happens with the Course in Miracles. Many, many times. I want to welcome those who are watching on Facebook Live, and thank you for tuning in to A Course in Miracles. I'm Earl Purdy, and I love this stuff. And I want to see what the message is. What the Course in Miracles teaches is that anybody that shows up for a class, that's why I never know who's going to be here, because it says that everybody that comes is sent. So for whatever reason, whoever's online watching, whoever's in here, look at it like, the universe sent me here today. It's no accident that I'm here. I was sent here. And today, you were sent to hear a section in the Course in Miracles that's called The Decision for God, the decision for love, the decision for God, the decision for love, the decision for love. Anybody in here want to make a decision for real love? Yeah. I'm ready to make the decision for God, the decision for the Creator. So take a breath right now. We want to allow ourselves to become centered and tune in, because we've been out in the dream, we've been out in the world, we've been dealing with a lot of things out there. So it takes a few minutes to really get present. So let the music that opens up your intuitive side, music opens up your right brain, your intuitive side, because we don't want to listen to this from the analytical mind. The Course in Miracles says you will never get it by analyzing it. And that's why I don't analyze the Course. After 30 plus years of teaching it and learning it, I know that analyzing it, actually it says, destroys the meaning of what it's saying. That it actually doesn't help people understand it when they read the Course and sit around and analyze it. The Course itself says that destroys the meaning of what it's saying. So what I want to do is do the Course in Miracles the way the Course in Miracles says do the Course in Miracles. It's a radical concept. I'm not going to do the Course in Miracles the way we've been taught to learn other things. I'm going to do the Course in Miracles the way that it's saying it should be done. And it says right here, as a matter of fact, I want to share this with you. Where is it? Okay, yeah. It says this is the truth. In lesson 284, it says, this is the truth. At first to be but said. This is talking about the stages to accepting the Course or the truth. It says the first stage is you have to say it. So I'm going to say it. And then it says the next stage is repeat it many, many times. So I slow things down, I say it, and then I repeat it many, many times in various ways. Then it says, next to be accepted, but as partly true. All right, so you hear it, then you repeat it over and over again, and then you begin to accept it. Yeah, some of it I accept, okay? Then it says the next stage is, it says, first you accept it as but partly true, but you do it with many reservations. Hear it, repeat it, begin to accept it as partly true, but with many reservations. And then the last stage of accepting it, it says, then you seriously consider it more and more. The next stage is you seriously do what? Consider it more and more. And then the last stage is finally accept it as the truth. And then the Course in Miracles says you need not believe the ideas, right? It says you need not believe the ideas, you need not accept the ideas. It says some of the ideas, and this is from the workbook, it says you need not believe the ideas, you need not accept the ideas, you need not even welcome the ideas. Some of the ideas you may actively resist. Now, sometimes when I'm going through this, and if anybody's been coming to my class, you've heard me do this many times. And so sometimes I feel like a flight attendant. You know, when you're going over something, everybody says, because they've heard it so many times. Like, but then when the plane going down, they go, oh, hell, where that mask at? Where that oxygen mask? You know what I'm saying? So I'm telling you, because I'm going to make your ego mad, because from here on out, I'm going to teach the Course even more the way he's saying it. I repeat, I am not going to spend my class analyzing these concepts. So you're going to get mad at me, okay? Because I want us to get it, and I've done this a long time, and I've seen it work in my life and the lives of others, and it didn't work when we didn't do what it said. So the Course is saying that what you need to do is hear it, repeat it, and then you'll start to accept it as partially true, and then you'll start to consider it seriously more and more, and then it says, then you'll finally accept it as the truth. And then in the workbook it says, you need not believe the ideas, you need not accept the ideas, you need not even welcome the ideas. Some of the ideas you may actively resist. 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 What did I say? Some of the ideas you may actively resist. And you're going to have a little, you got that swamp cooler on it, so it should work, but this is, I know what my recorder is going to do, and it's going to pick up this, it's going to pick up all that fan noise, okay. Okay, oh God, that's better. Then it says, you'll finally accept it as the truth, but you'll finally accept it as the truth when you consider it seriously more and more, accept it as partly true with many reservations, and have it repeated to you over and over again, like what I'm doing right now. I don't know many people that have ever hammered in a nail with one blow. Yeah. I've never seen a carpenter generally take a hammer and go, BAM! And then the nail is in there. Forever. Yeah, forever. Usually it's plop, 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 plop. That's us. That's us. That's us, you know. And then it says, did I say some of the ideas you may actively resist?
Mm-hmm. You did.
Okay. Then it says some of the ideas you will find hard to believe. Some of the ideas you will find hard to believe. Did I say some of the ideas you? Does everybody know what finding hard to believe means? Yeah. Okay. You're gonna go, this is hard to believe. So okay. Or you're gonna go, what? This is hard to believe. This is hard to believe. Then it says. And this is going to be others may seem to be quite startling. Some of these ideas may startle you. Some of these ideas may startle you. Some of these ideas may startle you. Oh, what?
Like wake you up.
Startle you, like, ooh, I didn't think of it that way. Whoa.
How reasonable.
How reasonable. Yeah, that's why I'm startled. That's why I'm startled, because it made sense. Okay. Then it says, oh, this is going to be the hard part here. This is going to be it. This next sentence he says, okay, I'm just going to go ahead and say it. I'm the messenger. You are not asked to judge. Oh man, that's over there. That's kind of over the top there. You are not asked to judge the ideas at all. Like, what are you going? I just want to leave. What else? What else about it? Everybody knows my opinion really matters.
Well, the question
is,
what's the difference between judging and describing?
There is no difference.
I keep trying to say God, I wasn't judging, I was just describing.
Yeah, well, saying describing just makes you feel better about judging.
Right.
Okay, so yeah, so it's just the way to do it to feel better about yourself. That's okay. Yeah, that's okay. I don't mind.
I try not to.
Well, you know what's cool is, according to the Course in Miracles, we are not sinful or guilty anyway.
We're not perfect.
So therefore, that means even if you don't do it right, nothing's judging you but you.
Right.
Nobody's ever really judging you but you. That's what's so. You think about all the time you spend feeling bad for no reason at all. You got to forgive yourself for that. I don't know how to break it to you. Most people not thinking about you. Okay, now. That's why you're trying to get somebody to go out with you. Because we want somebody to think about us. Even though they're going to pay dearly for that honor. Okay. Then it says, you're not asked to judge the ideas, you're not asked to judge the ideas, you're not asked to judge the ideas. That's the same as saying you're not asked to analyze the ideas. And then it says, their use will give the ideas meaning to you. Their use will give the ideas meaning to, but how can you use something that you don't remember? That's why I tell people, you know, you got to study the course. You have to study the course. You have to read the course. You have to study the course. You have to study the course. You have to read the course. You have to study the course. You have to read the course to practice the ideas of the course. It's a radical concept.
Startling.
Startling. You mean I have to actually remember what it says? Yes, if you're going to use what it says, you're going to have to. You can't just use talking points. And by talking points, I mean, what's the Course in Miracles saying? The person goes, well, the only thing is, well, you got to change your perception. Okay, that's true, but you're not fleshing that out. You're not really saying what in detail, what did it specifically tell you to do the next time you're upset. Say, I'm never upset for the reason I think. What did it tell you specifically to do? You could say, at least I could decide I don't like what I feel now, and so I hope I'm wrong. So I want another way to look at it. Perhaps there is another way to look at it. What can I lose by asking? Notice I'm saying specific things that the Course says. I'm not just stopping with the thing that I can just kind of throw off like a talking point. Then it says, their use will give the ideas meaning to you. So what gives the ideas meaning to you? Their use. And will show you that the ideas are true. So the Course in Miracles says, the ideas will show you that they are true. The ideas will show you that they are true. And so today we're going to be on page 88 in the Foundation for Inner Peace version of the Course. And we're going to be on chapter 5, healing and wholeness, the decision for God, the decision for the Creator. The Course in Miracles is only talking about what two things? Love and fear. The loving part of your mind, the fearful part of your mind. Okay? So I'm going to go through it and we're going to hear it. I'm going to do first stage. First stage is hearing. Before I do it, page 88, those of you online, please share the video. Please share the video. I'm glad to see you here. And I'm watching and I can see your comments. And now we're going to have dramatic music. Do you really believe that you can make a voice that can drown out God's? Yes. Do you really believe you can make a voice that can drown out God's voice? Do you really believe you can make a voice that can drown out the voice of love? Do you really believe you can drown out your Creator's voice? Do you really believe that you can drown out your Creator's voice? Do you really believe you can devise a way of thinking that can separate you from your Creator? Do you believe you can come up with a way of thinking that can separate you from love? Do you believe that you can think things that could separate you from love? Do you really believe that you can come up with a way of thinking that could separate you from God? Let me know when you hear the question. Do you really believe you can devise a thought system that can separate you from God? Do you really believe you can make a voice that drowns out God's? Yes, it's called your voice. It's called your voice. The one that you're listening to, that you're making up all the time, and you attribute it to God. The way you know it's not God's voice is because when you listen to it, you're not happy, you don't get what you want, or you're still confused, angry, and depressed, and thinking that what's happening that you want to happen isn't really happening. Because the Course in Miracles basically says that we try to feel good through denial. That our way of feeling good is just to go into denial about what we're really thinking and what we're really doing. And so it says to us, do you really believe you can plan for your safety and joy better than your Creator can? Do you believe you can plan for your safety and happiness better than your Creator can? Yes. Yes. So I'm gonna get out of denial. Do you really believe you can make a voice that can drown out God's Raj? Yes. Do you really believe you can devise a thought system that can separate you from God and love? Obviously, if I'm upset and afraid and worried about anything, I've done that. Yes. Do you really believe you can plan for your safety and joy better than anybody else? Your higher self. Of course, I got a bunch of plans right now in my mind about what I think I should do. I got some plans for this afternoon. I got some plans for this week. I got some long-range goals. Well, you really believe you can plan for your safety and joy better than your Creator can. Then it says, and this is really good because we're already so good at this. It says, you need be neither careful nor careless. You know, you don't have to be careful and you don't have to be careless. What? You don't have to be careful and you don't have to be careless. Why? Because you need merely cast your cares upon your Creator because your Creator cares for you. Why is it that I don't need to be careful? Because my Creator's going to take care of me. Why is it that I don't have to be careless? Because my Creator is going to take care of me. So the more you study the Course in Miracles, usually what happens is the more a person studies the Course in Miracles, the more they realize they don't believe in a Creator or God or a higher power. It's almost just the opposite. They think that, oh, it's just going to make me really feel closer to God than I already feel. Now, the first thing that's going to happen is you're going to realize in most cases, you're just doing a lot of lip service. That you really don't believe in a Creator. Because I do think I can plan for my safety and care better than God can. I do think I can come up with ways of thinking that separate me from believing that I'm loved all the time. That's called every time you're upset or worried about something. I do believe I can make a voice that drowns out the voice for God. Because it's the one I'm making up all day that I call my voice. That's telling me about my past and telling me about what might happen in the future. So, and then when I hear something like, I don't have to be careful, what? Why? Because that which created me is going to care for me? I don't believe that either. I think I've got to be real careful all the time. Then the Course in Miracles says, you are God's care because your Creator loves you. I care. So what is the sign of someone loving you? They care for you. Someone that cares for you, you're not trying to hurt them. You're not attacking them. You're not judging them. You're not manipulating them. You're not trying to control them. That's what happens when you love. So he says, you are God's care. Why? Because God loves you, which is the same as saying you are love's care because love loves you. Love loves you. And love's voice, or God's voice, reminds you of what? He said, well, God's voice, the voice for love, reminds you always that all hope is yours because you're being taken care of by your Creator. All hope, you should just feel completely hopeful because you know you're being taken care of by the divine. You know you're being taken care of by the Creator. You know you're being taken care of by God. So therefore, you are hopeful. You feel good. You're hopeful. Then the Course in Miracles says you cannot choose to escape what? Love's care. So you can't choose to escape God's care because that's not God's will. So God's will, that which creates everything, that which is in charge of everything, has decided no matter what you do, you're still going to be cared for and you're still going to be loved. Nah. I don't care what you try to do. I don't care how you believe you judge yourself. I don't care how you put yourself down. I don't care what you think you've done to anything or anybody. You cannot escape the care of love. If somebody loves you, if something loves you, it's never going to not love you. So it doesn't exactly make us jump up and down for joy because first of all, there's a part of us that don't believe we deserve to be cared for no matter what we do. And then we certainly have not been able to pull that off for ourselves. So in a way, it sounds like we're hearing an impossible mission. But we forget it said God's going to do it. Did not say you were going to do it. You should feel relief.
Yeah.
You hear me, Cheryl? You should be going, because I wasn't doing such a great job anyway. Okay. And then the Course in Miracles says you cannot escape to choose. You cannot choose. I like that. You cannot choose to escape love's care because that's not love's will. But But you can choose to accept love's care. You can't escape the care, but you can accept the care and use the infinite power of God's care for all those God created by God's care. So if you want to choose to use the power of love for everyone that was created by God, you can choose to do that. If I want to use the power of God to love you, I can do that. But I can't escape the care. I can't escape the love. Suppose you had a belief, and if your belief creates your reality and your perception, which is a very popular metaphysical concept, that your thoughts create your reality or your perception. Suppose you had a hardcore idea that you couldn't escape the care of God and that you would always be cared for and loved and supported no matter what you did. Would you imagine living in a reality that was based on that idea, that you cannot escape love's care and that you can share the power of love for everything that was created by love? That's a good deal. So what did the first paragraph say? We say we have to hear it. Okay, and here's the repeat. Do you really believe you can drown out the voice? Who wants to tell the truth? I'll see. Do you really believe that you can make a voice that can drown out the voice of love? Yes. Do you really believe you can come up with a way of thinking that sometimes separates you from love? Yes. Do you really believe you can come up with a plan for your happiness and say that it's better than what the Spirit could come up with? Because most of the times it says that the Spirit is trying to, doesn't want me to do most of the things I'm planning. So I definitely don't want to use God's plan, because what I learned God's plan was sound like a drag when I was growing up in church. You know, like, well, you couldn't do nothing. Everything I liked was a sin. And then when I was growing up, that all my friends and me, based on what we liked to do, it was going to hell. You know, and as kind of I didn't mind going to hell. At least I was going to be with my partners. and then the idea of heaven was like people hanging around playing harps. I want to hear some Rick James, you know what I'm saying? I want to hear some funk. I don't want to hear no harps, you know. So what I was hearing didn't turn me on. That's somebody else's idea of heaven. That sounded like mine. Now that was hell. That's right. Now that was a description of hell. It reminded me of a Twilight Zone episode I saw when I was a kid, where this biker died, and he woke up and he was in this room with this really old couple who was watching like some variety show on TV. And the biker was like, what the heck? And they was like really joyful. It was hell for him. It was heaven for them. The exact same thing. To them, heaven was cooled out watching some variety show. For him, that was hell. You know, some people come to a class like this, and somebody might bring them to the class. The person that brought them is loving it. For them, it's hell. It's the exact same thing. It's the exact same. You've done that, right? You're a witness of it, right? As a matter of fact, there's a few of your friends you've never seen again. I understand. Now, you meant well. You meant well there, Megan. Don't worry about you. You meant well, darling. Okay, so then the course says what? Then it says, don't be careful, don't be careless. You just cast your cares upon God because God loves you. And you can't escape that care, but you could choose to be someone that champions that love and allows that love to come through you. And that's what you can do. So that's the first thing. So any comments or questions about what that paragraph is saying before I go to the next part of it? Damn, I'm good. Okay, there you go, Megan.
I'm just really glad that my will has nothing to do with it. Like, that I don't have to sign up to have God's love or God's acceptance or, like, the power of creation. I just have to choose to accept it. So whether I think my voice can be louder than God, whether I think that my plans of safety and joy are better than creation's, that doesn't change. My thoughts are no great contribution to the truth.
That's
basically.
right.
And so that's good news.
That is good news. There is a line that you just quoted basically in the course that says that your understanding is not a powerful contribution to the truth. It makes the truth what it is. Something isn't true just because you agree with it. And something is not true just because you don't agree with it, you know. And it doesn't affect the truth. And because I don't understand how jets fly doesn't mean that I can't get from here to California. So if your understanding was necessary for you to function, you wouldn't get very much done all day. I don't understand how the cell phone works, the light switch works, the car outside works, the sun works. Think about it. So why do we think we have to understand how God works? So then we set up and go, okay, I've got to understand this or it won't work. It's like, actually, he says in the Course in Miracles, to understand means to accept.
Right, so I have a question for you. What you're saying is, and going back to your voice being louder, you all are saying, yes, my voice can be louder than God's. That's a perception.
Yeah, but the question was, do you believe you can come up with a voice? Like I said, do you believe you can come up with a voice that drowns out God's voice? In other words, do you believe you can make up thoughts that you listen to more than the truth? That's all it's really saying.
Yeah, but you can if you perceive that that's the truth.
You can't what?
Your voice can be louder than God's if you perceive it to be louder than God's.
And which is what I'm saying.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. That's all I'm saying, is that he's just saying, do you think you can do that? And then we would be honest and in a sense get out of our metaphysical mind for a minute and just realize that most of the day, all day, I'm listening to what I call Earl's voice.
Yes.
And I'm doing what I think Earl should do all day. That's all he's saying. You think you can come up with a voice that drowns out the truth.
This is like Jesus sarcasm, you know?
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
like, so you really think.
Yeah, do you really think? Yeah. Do you really think? Wow, you really think you can come with a voice that drowns out mine? That's why you're going through hell.
That's why you're in hell.
That's why you're in hell. You're in hell being afraid of going to hell. It's like the Course in Miracles goes, basically says, I don't know how to break it to y'all, but you jokers already in hell. y'all trying to wonder if you're going to hell. Have you read the news lately? Have you tried to cross Colfax at rush hour? You in hell. See, you in a place, he said, if you're in a place that you can be afraid that you think anything can happen to you at any time and everybody that you love and everybody that you know, he said, that's hell. Hell is fear. And so people are going, oh, no, I don't believe in hell. Yes, you do. Because you believe in separation. You think you're on your own sometimes. You think it's up to you to figure out everything. You think everything is based on your ingenuousness and who you know and how you look and how much you can get people to like you to be okay. That's hell. That's hell according to the Course. Okay, so those of you online, I see some flames coming out of my phone. There's some people online. Okay, one more time. Okay, now there have been many healers. I like to play it like an instrument. There have been many healers who did not heal themselves. I'm a healer, but I'm on the way to the hospital tomorrow myself. I'm going to heal your relationship, and I'm just leaving divorce court. I'm going to show you how to do your prosperity. As soon as I get through filing bankruptcy, there's a lot of healers who need healing themselves. You know what I'm saying? And you be going like, you probably got friends and relatives that do the same thing. They're going to tell you what to do with your money, and they're broke. Or they're going to tell you how to have right relationships, and they haven't had a relationship in 30 years. But they're giving you advice. Have you ever met people like that? They're constantly giving you advice.
See him in the mirror.
Yeah, see him in the mirror. That's you too. You too. It's like as my body changes, as I've been on the planet longer, I get out the shower and go look in the mirror and go, how'd you get in there? Who are you? Throw a blanket over the mirror, Okay. All right. I want y'all to learn how to love me beyond the body. All of y'all. The older I get, the more I want people to love me for my content. I want y'all to love me I used to could be dumb as hell and I'd still get a date. Because of how I looked, you know what I'm saying? I just go up and listen to what girls say all the time. I love your ass. And I love to look at you with them. All right. It was a good deal. Yeah, it was good. That's right. My buddies called me.
Eye contact.
I had eye contact. That's right. Oh God, if it was the X-rated class, I would have went off on that. Okay, now there are many healers who didn't heal themselves. The healers have not moved mountains by their faith. Now, why is it that you've been told in the Bible you can move mountains by your faith, but you haven't done it? Because your faith isn't whole. You don't have whole faith. You don't have total faith. If you had total faith, you could move a mountain. The reason why I don't do it is I don't have closet space. Where would I put it? So I just decided to leave everything where it was. That'll save me a lot of money, just the storage fees alone. I just leave stuff where it is. But I could move mountains if I wanted to. Says some of the healers have healed the sick at times. Some of the healers have healed the sick at times. But what it said? But they haven't raised the dead. See, but actually, if you're raising children in this world, you are raising the dead. That's cold, ain't it? That's cold. Because the Course of Miracles defines the dead as those who are unconscious of the truth. Yeah. So you're raising the dead. Every time you get up in the morning, you raise the dead. Especially if you've been out late. Some of y'all just after last night you rose the dead. You raised the dead this morning. So the Court says some of these healers have healed the sick at times, but they haven't raised the dead. Unless the healer heals himself, the healer can't believe that there's no order of difficulty in miracles. In other words, if I say there's no order of difficulties in healing, if I say there's no order of difficulty in healings, then why am I not healed? Why am I not happy? Why am I not experiencing love? And the Course in Miracles then says, because that healer has not learned that every man God created is equally worthy of being healed. So in order for healing to happen for everybody, we have to believe that everybody's equally worthy of healing. So if I want all of you to be healed, I have to also accept that all of you are equally worthy of being healed. But I still pick and choose. I think some people deserve love and some people don't. I think some people deserve to be helped and some people don't. So I'm not seeing everybody as equally worthy of being healed. If I'll be honest, I want to pick and choose who's worthy of being healed.
But don't you want to?
No, I'm not in denial. There's some people I do not see the way that I should see them yet. Because if I already did, I'd already be enlightened. So I'm just telling the truth. I mean, I could say it. Truth students like to say it. All of them like to say they love everybody. I wish everybody well. I want to forgive. Okay, let me finish, and then when I throw it open, you can shoot it at me. Okay. All right. Okay. All right. Then it says, what I'm gonna always do is get out of denial for myself. So you don't have to agree with me. You can think you love everybody all day and all night to the big fly. But I have learned in 30 years of studying the Course that every time I tell the truth about my ego, my life gets easier, more love comes into it. But when I was Mr. I love everybody, and I'm enlightened, and I'm infinite intelligence, and I know everything, my world was saying, I'm going to show you your bullying. You love everybody. Here comes the most obnoxious person that you could ever see. Let's see if you can love everybody. Oh, I have all abundance. Okay, let's see how you handle the idea. But you know what I'm saying? When you don't tell the truth, the universe says, okay, let me give you an opportunity to get out of denial. But if I was to go ahead and say I don't love everybody, then the universe would show me how to love everybody. But if I say I do, there's no point in reaching out to me. If I say I know, there's no need for the universe to give me any information. So every time you go, I know it, then you're making a conclusion that cuts you off from help that you will see. Right. And I know from being a metaphysician and studying this stuff for years, I've seen it over and over again. I see truth students say stuff that they absolutely don't really mean. And then there'll be the nice people who are going through hell all the time. There'll be the really nice person that's always having something happen to them that they don't know why. It's because you're in denial about your ego. You're pretending that you are where you aren't. And then the universe shows you what you need to work on with what's not true. So it doesn't make you a bad person if you say, I don't know how to love everybody unconditionally. It doesn't make you a bad person to say, I have some grievances that I'm still trying to work through right now. I don't know where we got this idea that to admit what you're feeling somehow makes you bad. Right. And so everybody goes into denial about what they're honestly feeling and thinking. And also, sweeping your thoughts under a rug of positive thinking isn't helping anything either. So, yeah, you can say you love everybody. Nobody believes you.
Well, and I'm demonstrating it every second that I
And you're demonstrating it by the way that you feel. Do you have absolute total peace? The Course in Miracles says, which we don't have to agree. We heard that now. So I'm not teaching any of this from the perspective that y'all need to believe me. But I admitted it would be startling. And then I said some of it was going to be hard to believe. So don't be shocked if I'm saying something that you find startling and hard to believe. Or, something that you don't want to agree with. I don't care. I don't care if you agree with me because I shouldn't be in front of the room if you got to agree with me. Mm-hmm. So therefore, if you don't want to buy into something I'm saying, I don't care. Mm-hmm. That's how you know I love you. I don't care. Yeah. Because your opinion is not important to me. And my opinion isn't important to you. That's just a fact. If I believe something and I want to do it, your opinion isn't going to change my mind. So I let people say all kinds of things I don't agree with around me without saying anything. That's just how little power I give to it. Because I don't need them to agree with me in order for me to keep moving in the direction I'm going in. All I need to do is join with those who want to go in the direction I'm going in and then let everybody else be.
Yeah.
Because if I talk to you and you say something I want to see, that's going to be encouraging you to continue to talk to me. And I don't want to encourage you to continue to talk to me if what you're saying is something I don't want to hear by engaging you in the conversation. Especially if I'm trying to change your mind, which it doesn't matter, because my reality is going to be a reflection of my thoughts. So a lot of people keep themselves in hell all day because they need to let somebody know what they think. You need to know that I don't agree. Well, no, I don't need to know that you don't agree. You need to say it. It don't have nothing to do with me needing to know nothing. You just need to say it, because if you really believe what you were thinking was true, you also would feel no need. The fact that you feel threatened means that there are doubts in your mind. If I defend it, then I'm the one that's shaking in that belief. If I need to prove it to somebody, then I'm the one that's wondering about that. Right? I mean, that's what the Course says. You know, and what I love about it, I love that it makes statements like, I cannot choose to escape the care of somebody who loves me, because somebody who loves me is going to love me no matter what. Because then it allows me to know that, well, there's nobody around me that's loving me completely. So what's the good of that? Well, then if you don't love me all the time, I won't hold a grievance against you, because I didn't expect you to do it anyway. Because I know you're learning how to love just like I am. And since you're learning how to love just like I am, I can be forgiving of you if you can't always do it, and you can be forgiving of me if I can't always do it. But if I walk up to you and say, I love everybody, and I'll always love you no matter what you do, because I'm a truth student.
Bullshit.
Okay, there you go. That's exactly what it is, because as soon as I want to act out your script, you're going to get upset if you don't really love me. So then you go off, and then I go, oh, I'm disillusioned. You told me you'd never go off on me, that you'd never get angry at me. You'd just be loving me all the time, Paris. So now I got a grievance, because you didn't tell me the truth. But if you had to say, look, I'm interested in you, I'd like to be with you, I'd like to join with you for the purpose of love and growing and becoming enlightened together the best we can, but I got issues. And you have too. And then together we're going to learn how to go beyond those blocks to love. Hallelujah. Now every time we go through something, we'll go through it. We'll go through it to the others. But you walk up to somebody and say, I love you completely, and there's nothing you can ever do that could ever make me not love you. You'll see what those things are if they're there. Or you could actually have hit the jackpot, and that person actually could love you unconditionally. Now, how do you know that there's a possibility that that could happen, that they're really loving you unconditionally? Would you like to know? You would be doing the same thing. So if you know you can't love unconditionally, then there's probably a good chance you're not going to attract somebody to you that can love unconditionally either. So that's what I do. I said, well, if you're so unconditionally loving, then why are you attracted to me? You know what I'm saying? I know I got issues. I'm not able to do it yet, you know. So kind of, you know, like, what kind of person would you like to be in a relationship with? I want them to be smart, and I want them to be brilliant, and I want them to be sexy, and I want them to be powerful, and I want them to be rich, and I want them to be awake, and, you know, and then fun and open. And then the boy said, well, the person like that want you. What? Would a person like that want you? I mean, is there somebody on their knees praying for, you know, but what I want is somebody who wants a dysfunctional person who doesn't really know how to love, who holds grievances and gives love unconditionally and feels guilt. So I have to be what I want to have. I have to be what I want. I can't be wanting somebody to be attracted to me and I have none of those qualities. That's cruel. That's cruel. Think about that. Why would they want you? I'm not putting you down. I'm just saying you want to work with somebody that's got similar qualities so that y'all can understand each other. You don't have a tap of jealousy, right? And yet, I put it the other way. You got a lot of jealousy. You know you have a jealousy issue. It would be hell for you to be with somebody that had absolutely no jealousy and didn't know how to relate to that at all.
Yeah, sure.
But if the other person went, you know, sometimes I have that issue too. Then there's a way to relate. hanging out with Jesus would be hard for most of us. We would drown, just trying to cross Stone's Lake. Jesus would be going, what happened to Ross? Don't pay. I'm going Jesus would be like feeding everybody walking up and down the street, and I wouldn't have nothing to give them. I'd be feeling insecure. I feel inferior. So I want to be around people on a similar level, trying to go in the same direction, personally. So the Course in Miracles says right here, he says, the healer hasn't learned that every man love created is equally worthy of being healed because God of love created it whole or healed. The reason why you're capable of being whole is you were created that way. So you're capable of being loving because you were created loving. That's how you know you can pull it off. You really are. Then it says you are merely asked to do what? Return to God. I can see they're going back to Target. Return to God, the mind as God created it. See, God, the Course in Miracles says God created your mind as innocent and loving, right? So you need to return your mind the way that God created it. You should work on letting all your guilt and grievances and separation go so that you're returning your mind to love. See, when you put the word love for God, it'll make a whole lot of sense. I got to return my mind to love the way that love created it. And I have fear in my mind. So I don't want to return fear to love. I want to return love to love. Because then you can join. You can join when you're the same. Right? And then the Course in Miracles says, God asks you only for what God gave. Okay, I gave you a mind of love, would you give me back a mind of love? Then it says, knowing that this giving will heal you. So what will heal you? Giving your mind to love. Giving your mind to love will heal you. The Course is so simple, but the ego tries its best to complicate the Course in Miracles. What could be simpler than being told, I've given you a loving mind, give me a loving mind back. And then the Course in Miracles definition of sanity is wholeness. So when I go through the Course, I use the substitutions a lot because it makes a lot more sense when I use it. So let's use the word sanity where you see the word whole. Let me give you an example. There have been many healers who did not heal themselves. They haven't moved mountains by their faith because their faith was not sane. I didn't have sane faith. Some of them have healed the sick at times, but the healers haven't raised the dead because unless the healer heals himself, the healer can't believe there's no order of difficulty in healing. Right? Then it says, I love this. Then it says, also the healer has not learned that every man God created is equally worthy of being healed because God created it sane. So how is your mind created? Sane. So what is God asking for? A sane mind. So when we go through the Course in Miracles and we learn sane thinking, we're finally allowing our minds to become the way that our minds were created, which is sane. So if I say I love you, I'm saying I want to give you some sanity. I want to share my sane, loving mind with you. I don't want to share my crazy mind. I want to share my sane mind. I'm already in the world that's sharing crazy minds. I know what crazy minds do. I know how crazy minds act. Separate, judgmental, attack, have grievances, get depressed, believe in lack, believe in sickness. We know how, we just look at the world that we're in if you get out of denial. Now, if you're in denial, you pretend like there aren't these other things going on in the world. You'll just go, well, I don't see anything but love in the world. Oh, yeah, well, but because you're standing in the middle of a railroad track with your hands over your eyes don't mean the train ain't going to wipe your butt out. So you're much more likely to avoid getting hit by the train if you saw it coming than if you were closing your eyes and pretending the train wasn't there. I'm much more likely to be hurt by a fearful, insane person if I recognize them than if I was pretending that person was sane. That's me saying, I just see love everywhere before I'm really seeing love everywhere. I'm not saying when I really wake up, I will see love everywhere. But that doesn't come from pretending that I see love everywhere. That's the difference. It's a difference in pretending you're loving everybody and really loving everybody. You know, so the court says you're supposed to say, I'm either seeing love from everybody or I'm seeing a call for love or a call for sanity or a call for truth. That way you're not in denial and you won't get your butt kicked. So a person who attacks, murders, or whatever, that is a person that is insane, according to the courts. They're asking for insanity, and so they're calling for help. Mm-hmm. They're calling for sanity. They're calling for love. They're calling for God. He says, but the error we make is we don't help anybody, we just punish them. We don't help people, we just punish people. He says guilty people punish people. And the reason why guilty people punish people is because guilty people believe they deserve to be punished themselves. So they give what they would want to receive if they did the same thing. So if I believe I deserve to be punished for what I do, then I'm going to want everybody else to be punished. So it's really about me thinking I don't deserve to be helped. So if I don't love myself, I'm going to be the most judgmental, cruel person in the world about what I think other people should receive as punishment. That's why people get mad when you say, I'm not sinful. I don't believe in sin. I don't believe in guilt. Because they believe that's their salvation, is to see themselves as guilty and sinful. So when you say that, it scares them. Because they've been taught that you are born in sin. And so the way that you are healed is to admit you're a sinner. So of course, this does an interesting thing. He says a sin is just a lack of love. So if you have any parts of your mind that grew up hearing that you were a sinner, and that's still in your subconscious mind, then if you say that sin is a lack of love, then you transform that idea in your consciousness. So now if there's any part of my mind that believes I'm a sinner, it's now transformed to there's a part of my mind that believes that there can be a lack of love. And so that takes all of the ooh off the idea of sin. It's just the belief that there's not enough love happening. That's all. I think I'm lacking love. Doesn't mean I am lacking love. It means I think I'm lacking love. That's different. That's different. And then the last sentence says, sanity is wholeness, and the sanity of your brothers is yours. So your sanity is my sanity is your sanity. And when the Course in Miracles describes brother, it's not talking about a gender. It's not talking about gender. Like a lot of people got a lot of resistance against the Course because of the masculine terminology, which means they haven't read it. Mm-hmm. If you read it, you understand that the Course in Miracles has its own interpretation of all the words that it's using. Not the interpretations we learn from the world, which is what the resistance is coming from, but the interpretation that's coming from the Course itself, which is a brother is simply a mind that is joined with yours. It has nothing to do with gender. It's a mind, but if you want to change the gender to feel okay, Spirit doesn't care. That's what I love about it. If you choose to do it because it makes you feel more peace, okay. Because that's the way love is. It accepts everything. Okay, you want to do it differently? No problem. It's Spirit that can't accept everything. It's a fearful mind that's got a million rules for everything and everybody. A loving mind doesn't need laws. It's only fearful minds that need laws and rules. Because if you were coming from true love, you'd never harm anybody, including yourself anyway. You would only want to do what's loving. So the more I talk loving, the more you're going to be tempted to go to sleep and go unconscious. I don't care. Because the message is going to your real mind, regardless of how your ego reacts. And that's why it's okay to go to sleep, because then I just bypass your ego and I can get to you even more. And I can draw funny things on your face. Okay, so what did this paragraph say? There are a lot of people that claim to be healers that are not really healing themselves and can't heal themselves, and that they don't move mountains by their faith because their faith is not whole. And unless you can get to the point that you allow yourself to be healed, the Course in Miracles says you don't really believe there's no order of difficulties in healing because you wouldn't be left out. Then it says every one of us are equally worthy of being healed. Each one of us are equally worthy of being loved. And the only thing you're being asked to do is to give your mind back to love the way it was created, which is sane, which is loving. That's the message, and that's what the Course is saying. If you can get to the point you can say that back to yourself, because remember, it said the first stage is to hear it, the second is to repeat it until you begin to seriously consider it, and then you'll accept it as true, and when you accept it as true, you will perceive it in your reality. So that's why I keep saying all the time, it isn't about analyzing it, it's about can you remember to tell yourself what I'm telling you to tell yourself is what Spirit is saying in this. You are asking how to know love. well, this is how you would know love. But the problem is, it's simpler than what your ego would do, because your ego loves complexity. So you're looking for me to make it harder than this, because everybody's capable of hearing that and repeating that until they believe that. It's not a person in this room that's not capable of doing that. But he says, if you don't think you're worthy of love, then you're going to come up with every reason you can possibly come up with to not do that. And the main reason to not do that would be not to remember it in the first place and just forget it. And then go to analyzing it. Because the analyzation of it gets rid of the meaning of it. Because the person still thinks their understanding is important rather than the repetition of the truth until I accept it. You see the difference? One is saying, just like if you're going to be in a play, they want you to remember your lines. They don't want you to analyze every line of the script. Right. They don't go, now why did they write that the frog went over the pond? You go, no, just remember, when it's your time, say the frog went over the pond. But that's what this book is saying. Just say this, and you're going to get a life you never dreamed of. But my ego goes, well, unless I can understand it and I can agree with everything you say, then I couldn't possibly do it. Well, then you think, what did he say at the very beginning? You really believe, what he said, you really believe you can make a voice that drowns out God, because the truth has just told you what to say, and you're insisting on what your voice is telling you to do. Right? Isn't that what's happening? That's if you accept that this is your path. Yeah. You know, I do a class on Thursday night that I call Hardcore Course in Miracles. And I tell people that class is especially geared toward people who are Course in Miracles students. People who have decided they really want the Course as their path, even though they know they got to go through the changes you go through, which is different from doing the class, and which is equally valid, but doing the class where it's all about, I'm trying to figure out if I want to do this or not, and I'm not sure if it has any validity, and how can I disagree with everything that you're saying, and how can I see that another way? And like we said, why don't you just go get something that you really can move in a direction of that inspires you? Yeah, totally. You know, obviously this doesn't inspire you. If you see it as an adversarial thing that you got to fight with everything that it's saying, you might want to consider, is this really my path? It would seem like my path would inspire me. And that's not saying I wouldn't have questions, but I wouldn't be questioning from the perspective of, I think I'm being fooled all the time, and how could this possibly be wrong, and how can I not do it? And certainly it could hold your attention. If it was really your interest, it could hold your attention. If it really was your interest, it would hold your attention. If it really was your interest, it would hold your attention. You know, and you would know that it would take what the Course says. It says you can't learn anything without some level of attention, and I hate to say it, I'm going to say it anyway. It says, and study. Attention and study. But then he just told us how to study. It said the way you study this is to remember you don't have to believe it, you don't have to accept it, you don't have to welcome it, you're going to resist some of the ideas, you're going to find some of the ideas hard to believe, they're going to startle you, but if you don't analyze it and you use it, the ideas will show you, the ideas will show you, the ideas will show you, the ideas will show you that they are true if you use it. See, that's the instruction. Oh, this is how you learn it. This is how you do the attention and study. You say it to yourself. You repeat it, and you don't believe all of it yet. You keep repeating it. Then you start seriously considering it, and then one day you accept it as true. Then you see it working in your life. See, we're being told how to study it, but that's not how we were taught to study. We were taught that our understanding is completely important in order for something to be valid. We was taught you try to break it down and figure it all out before you use it. And the Course in Miracles is saying, I understand that, but that ain't the way you learn the Course in Miracles. Right? It's saying it's not the way you learn this. You know, just like me going to learn how to fly a plane, and then I want to use the skills I use to drive a car. You know, it's like, I'm sorry, yeah, if you were approaching it driving a car, what you're talking about would work. But if you're talking about flying a plane, you're going to have to listen to what I say about how to fly a plane. And that's what the Course is doing. It's saying, look, y'all, this is the way you get this material. It doesn't, I'm not trying to insult you. This is the way you do it, which is easier. What could be easier than something that tells you you don't have to believe it?
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, what could be easier than being told that the ideas will show you that they're true? If you would just allow yourself to accept the ideas at some point through repeating it. He says, because the reason why you're miserable, if you're miserable, is because you've been repeating it. I can never have a relationship. I can never have a relationship. I can never have a relationship. I always have problems with money. Oh, I get angry all the time. I get angry all the time. Oh, I wish you were different. I wish something was different in order for me. Oh, musicians have a hard time earning money. Artists can never make money being artists. We got all these things we repeat. It's harder for a woman. It's harder for a woman. It's harder for a man. It's harder for a black person. It's harder for a white person. It's harder for a person. We got these things we repeat, and then when our reality reflects it back to us, we act shocked.
Yeah, totally.
But we're repeating it, and we're accepting it, and then when you accept it, you see it. Mm-hmm. So if I want to see something different, then I need to be telling myself something different. And tell me, why would you in your right mind have a problem with something that tells you that there's something that loved you so much that it would care for you and take care of you regardless of what you think about yourself? Tell me why you would argue with that as opposed to trying to remember that. Please.
Because I don't think I deserve it.
Because I don't think I deserve it. The Course in Miracles says, that's exactly what it says. It says that the Course isn't hard. Most people just don't think they're worth consistent effort to do it. Yeah. It's not hard. It's just that people don't think they're worth that's deep. I don't think I'm worth the effort. So what do? I tell you what I do. I look for some person to give me the validation and the value that I'm not giving myself. So I look for the ideal person. Who's special, who's going to take care of what. I know it won't. I agree. But most people don't believe that. They think that when they find that person, that's when everything is going to be okay. Because they don't value themselves enough to just be happy with themselves. So that any relationship is a choice rather than a need to validate myself. I'm going to enter a relationship with you because I choose to, because of what hopefully we could speed ourselves along even faster together by reminding ourselves of the truth, rather than I'm full of all kinds of insecurities and fears and don't think I'm enough. So I need you to tell me how sweet and beautiful I am all the time so I'll feel good about myself. And since I need you to do that so I'll feel good about myself, I'm behind the bushes watching you. Because I got to make sure nobody else takes you away from me, because I need you for my validation, and I need you to make me feel good. So when we go to the party, I got one eye on you everywhere you go. That's right. That's right. Dead eye, because that's what you're going to be if I see you kissing somebody. Okay, so don't you see it? When we hear it, we know it's the truth, but when we hear it, it sounds crazy. And the Course says that, saying if somebody was to say back to us what we think, it sounds crazy to us. And I'm just saying what y'all know happens in the world. I'm not saying anything. It happens with me too.
I do that.
Paris, whatever you can do, I can do.
And I can do it better.
That's right. That's right. That's right. You know. Of course, you're a Leo, so you would say you could do it better. Okay, there's no doubt about that. Now, before I take this into home stretch, any comments or thoughts about that particular section?
Okay, here's my question for you. When I look at people, when you say, oh, nobody can love everybody and all this kind of stuff, I don't look at a person's physical appearance. I try not to. I look at their heart. So in other words, I can see somebody, I can see their heart. They can walk by me 5 minutes ago, and because I had to stamp people's hands, and they look at me like, don't you recognize me? I'm like, I don't look at you, I look at your heart. So, to me, isn't that what God wants us to do? Go back to a childlike state? You
have to learn to see things that way.
But I do.
Well, then it's not talking to you.
Oh.
It's talking to whoever believes that they don't do that all the time, and they would love to learn how to let go of the blocks to doing that. That's what I said. If you really in your heart and soul believe that that's what you do, then the Course says I should just rejoice with you.
I got a lot to learn, but that's the first step I found.
Oh, well, good. That's what I'm saying. If always put whatever you feel before anything you hear me say, or anything you hear this book say. Okay, that's the rule. Okay, because in the end, it's about you learning how to follow your heart and what you think is ultimately right for you. And so if that's true for you, I'm glad, because that means it's better for me. So why would I want that not to be true? There would be no advantage to me for what you just said not to be true. But the same thing is true about what I'm saying too. That there would be no advantage to a person also not wanting the idea that they are loved unconditionally not to be true. So, and that's what's funny as a teacher, when you watch how many people will actually look for ways that what you just said doesn't work, and it's wrong when the only thing you're saying is, you deserve love, you deserve love, you deserve love, you deserve love. And if you don't know how to do it yet, you can be loved and cared for regardless of that. That's good news. All I've heard is good news. Me personally, you were created sane, and spirit just wants your sane mind back. That sounds like good news to me, to me. And I admit that I haven't moved mountains. I admit it. And I want you to, and I say it again, pay attention to your reaction to loving thoughts. Because the average person's reaction to true loving thoughts is to go unconscious. And you go unconscious according to this because that is your ego's way to keep you from hearing the truth. He says that when you hear truth, your ego will forget it, go to sleep, or die. He says those are 3 words of advice your ego gives you. Forget this, go unconscious, go walk out in front of a bus.
Because the ego does not want us to hear the truth.
No, the ego is a part of our mind that wants to believe what it wants to believe and wants reality to be what it wants reality to be. Yeah. It's the part of us that's making it up as it goes along. So it's the part of us that thinks it's separate. Right. It's the part of us that has a social security number. It's the part of us that thinks it's a man or a woman. It's the part of us that thinks we die. It's the part of us that thinks power, money, fame, and physical pleasure is the key to happiness. It's the part of us that believes everybody else needs to change and everything else out there needs to change in order for me to be happy. That's the ego. It's the part of us that thinks it's guilty. It's the part of us that gets angry.
Which all goes back to fear.
And all of that's fear. And all of that's rooted in fear.
Is it the part of us that eats?
It's the part of us that eats. Mm-hmm. It's the part of us that drinks.
That thinks
it's
that
the part of us that does anything that it does with a body. Mm-hmm. That's the ego. It's the part of us that does anything that it does with the body. The Course in Miracles says it's the ego that looks out through the eyes of the body, in case you wanted to narrow it down a little bit more. Does it look like you're inside a body looking out? Yeah. That's your ego.
So that's why Jesus said, like, man does not live off bread alone, but off the word
of God, right? Because it's the truth. It's like the truth is what is going to sustain us, right? That's exactly right. That's why the Course, as one of many spiritual texts, is one of many wisdom texts, and not the only one that's doing it. The Course isn't the only way, but that's what it's trying. It's trying to feed us the ideas and the words that change our perception. He said enough for God to take the next step. Because you got to get your mind to a certain level of acceptance so that love could come without you, sabotaging it, resisting it, and running away from it. Somebody that's really loving makes an ego fearful person who's not ready for it angry. Because a loving person will not be placating your ego. They will not be trying to change themselves for you. They will not let what you say affect what they think is right. So you'll be saying, you're selfish, you're selfish, you're selfish, you're selfish, you're selfish, because they'll put their wholeness before anything because they know they can't give you what they don't have. So they make sure they keep their peace no matter what. And they take 100% responsibility for their experience, so they will not respond to you blaming them. Because they know they're not causing how you're feeling. But that doesn't mean they won't be compassionate, but they will not be controlled. So fearful people, they don't really handle loving people very well. That's why loving people recognize who you are, and they never give you their phone number. It's because they know that they'll be asking for a lot of baggage, and they'll be asking for a whole lot of high maintenance person. And they don't want, and a person who wants peace does not want a high maintenance person. They don't. They don't want somebody that's always needing. You got to prove you love them, and you got to. They got a script for you all the time, and they telling you what you ought to be doing, and they can't let you out of their sight, and they got to have. They got to have a little tracking device in your underwear. These people don't want people like that, and they got to look at their app. Okay, see, he went to Target. They have apps that you can track each other like that you can know exactly where your partner is all the time. I mean, they really have them. They really do. And some people, they have them on their phones to follow each other all the time. And they said, yeah, it is for you. It's for your safety.
There's your phone.
It really is for your safety. That's right. That's right. So
I don't like where you went.
So you are being loved unconditionally. Could you acknowledge yourself for hearing this Holy Spirit? Whoa. So I'm going to do one quick little recap of the main points that we did. Let's do the financial expression of appreciation. I really thank you for sharing with me as a full-time teacher and with Unity Temple so we can keep doing what we're doing. Those of you online, if you'd like to make a financial expression of appreciation for my classes and what I teach and the service that I give, you're totally innocent whether you do or don't, but I really appreciate it. Go to my website, Earl Purdy, PURDY.com. And those of you who are open and receptive to taking whatever issues you have and finally getting beyond those, I can take my 40 years of working with the course and my knowledge of astrology and numerology and bring it to a personal session that I call a clarity session with you and give you new ways to look at what you think you're going through to go past that. There are no original problems. They're not any original problems. There's not a situation or circumstance you can bring up that I cannot reference what the Course in Miracles and astrology and numerology and other metaphysical teachings say would be another way for you to look at that, to handle that. You're not that special that your issue, it cannot be solved. It's not like your issue is so awesome that God is saying, oh my God, I wish I could help Earl. Okay, it's not that special that the Creator is going, the universe is going, oh my goodness, I don't know what to do about this situation that Earl's dealing with right now.
See, that would come.
Yeah, that's too special. And people think that. They think like they have an issue that what they have is a level of complexity that's designed to keep them from solving the problem because they still think they deserve to suffer. So the more I think I deserve to suffer, the more I'm going to make it seem unsolvable. And I'm going to overlook the solution that would work. So let me send it that way. And those of you online, thank you. You all make awesome comments. And I always go through the comments. And I love how you're communicating with each other and taking advantage of the fact that we are live. And that some of y'all might be out there raising the dead. And so I want to acknowledge you for that. I want to acknowledge you for that. I'm telling you. Oh, yeah. Online, I do 2 classes online. Tuesday night at 7 p.m. Mountain Time, I do the Way of Mastery. And Thursday night, 7 p.m. Mountain Time, I do Hardcore Course in Miracles. And then on Sundays, we do our Course in Miracles class at 1 p.m. Mountain Time. You don't have to be a member of Facebook to watch my live broadcasts, and they are reposted so you can watch them later. I got hundreds of classes on my website, audio and video, that you can watch for free, and also on YouTube. In other words, there's a lot of opportunity for repetition. There's a lot of opportunity to hear this over and over again. The question is, do you think you're worth the effort? Do you think you're worth the effort? I think you're worth the effort. I think you're worth the effort.
I'm coming more and more to that understanding.
You're worth it. We voted.
Okay. Here's the repetition before you run out the room. Do you believe that you have the ability to make a voice that can drown out the truth?
Yes.
Do you really believe you can come up with a way of thinking that could separate you from God? Yes. Do you really believe that you can plan for your safety and joy better than God can? Yes, there's a part of me that thinks that. So this is what I want you to walk away with today. I want you to hear this and let yourself walk away with this. You need not be careful, and you need not be careless. What are you saying? You don't have to be careful. You do not have to be careful. You do not have to be careful. You do not have to be careful. You can cast your cares upon God. I cast my cares upon God. You can cast your cares upon God. You can cast your cares upon God. I cast my cares upon God. Say, I cast my cares upon God. I cast my cares upon God. I cast my cares upon God. Now remember that the Course in Miracles said to each and every one of us that one of the stages to accepting the truth is repeating it. So if we have an opportunity to repeat it and we don't repeat it, if we have an opportunity to repeat it and we're not repeating it, what does that say about how deeply we really want to use it, really? It means I'm still sticking to my voice as opposed to the voice for truth. And my voice is saying, don't repeat it. My voice is saying, even mentally, I'm not even saying out loud necessarily. So catch your ego. So I'm going to say, I cast my cares upon God. 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 Okay? 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 All right? Mighty companions. Don't forget, if all else fails, you're juicy and cute. So if you just keep your mouth closed, you at least get a date. All right? Because you look cute. So, you know, people in the world, they're much more into how you look anyway. So when they walk up to you, just go, So I'll see y'all next time. I love you. Thanks for coming. Just give it up for us. Y'all are awesome. You're awesome, 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 awesome. And hugs are available for those who dare. And those of you online, thank you so much. I love y'all coming on the live class.
Hey, brother. You're welcome.